lot of research I did, they always mention him with his goatee in his younger years, so I just want to show off his look. Douglas Tilden was born May 1st, 1860. He was born to hearing parents. His father was a doctor. His mother was an author and sculptor. He did have siblings, but wasn't able to find information about them. He was born hearing until he became ill from scarlet fever, and it resulted in him having hearing loss. Since his dad was a doctor and his mother was an author and sculptor, they both wanted him to have an education, so they sent him to the California School of the Deaf. He graduated from there in 1879. He enrolled in college, but was offered a position at the California School for the Deaf, so he stayed there and taught as a teacher for a while. While he was there teaching, he was often found making clay figurines, different types of artwork. He liked to draw in the summertime when he wasn't teaching. And this became noticeable to the faculty and staff. And they raised money, and they eventually sent him to go to New York to study at the National School of Design. And then he also eventually went abroad to study with sculptor Paul Chopin, who was also deaf. Whenever he was in Paris with Paul Chopin, Mr. Chopin did not allow him to look at his work. Instead, he would let Tilden work alone on his own, and he would just give him criticism and critiques about his work, and that's how he was formally learned. They did this so that Tilden wouldn't just copy, Paul's work. So I kind of already told you guys why he's famous. He's famous because he's a sculptor. He's known, some people call him the Michelangelo of the West. So here's some of these sculptors. These two right here are some of the most famous pieces because they survived the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco. This piece right here is the Indian and Bear. This is actually located at the California School for the Deaf. So if you went to that university, the School for the Deaf, you would see his sculpture. This is the baseball player. This is one of Tilden's first pieces that he submitted to the Paris Salon, and it was awarded. And it's called Our National Game, or The Baseball Player. Apparently, I talked to an art friend of mine, it's very common for different sculptures to have multiple names, because I did find that some of his work had different names, but it was the same sculpture. So, and this one's actually at Golden Gate Park. So if you went to that park today, you would see this sculpture. This picture I thought was really awesome. This is one of his famous pieces, The Mechanist. It's 5 gentlemen working with a steel piece of material, and as you can see, it survived the whole earthquake that devastated the rest of San Francisco. If you go down Market Street today, you'll still see this sculpture. It's there. This is the California Volunteers. Has a Pegasus. There's a soldier on top of it. We have a fallen soldier on the ground. Just brilliant work. Everyone really admired his work. The mayor of San Francisco was a big reason why he was able to live and make a living off of his artwork. They always wanted him to make sculptures for the city. He did sculptures of different mayors of the town. So he was often called on, and because he was well liked, he was able to make a living off his art. Eventually, the need for sculptures was not necessary anymore. Tilden wasn't able to make a living anymore off of his artwork. He eventually had to go work for Hollywood, worked on sets and sculpted animals for sets and educational films, made dinosaurs. This picked up any work he could. The money that he did make from Hollywood helped him build his own studio, and in the studio he continued to work on his own personal pieces and also teach other students of sculpting. So today he's not with us anymore. He did die August 4th, 1935, but he's still living in all of this beautiful artwork that's in California. Some interesting facts about him. Tilden was one of the first, or he wasn't one of the first, but at the Mark Hoppus Institute of Art, he was a professor of sculpting, and he taught hearing and speaking students how to sculpt. So this is pretty neat. I thought it was awesome that there was a deaf teacher at this time that was teaching hearing and speaking students. Also, he was very involved with the deaf community. He was a president for the California Association for the Deaf. Another interesting fact about him is that one night he was arrested because he got a little too violent with his family. Colleagues of his say that sometimes he was hard to work with, and he did have a temper. This night did result in him going to jail. So website here, you can find more information about him.